I would always watch the shows, and I would watch Simon Cowell, and I think one day I'll sing for him.
Those watching, this is opera song or opera wrong?
Well, I sang Ave Maria on Britain's Got Talent in my first audition.
Did you get to meet Her Majesty?
I still, after so many years, this is still my job, and people are still wanting to hear me sing. So I'm just grateful for that, really.
You're a Guinness World Record holder.
I am, yes.
Go on, tell us about that.
I'm going to say ding, ding, ding.
This episode of All Things Business, the podcast, is brought to you by our digital media partner, DFA Law. DFA Law, providers of expert and dedicated legal advice to businesses and families since 1838. DFA Law, the law firm for life.
Faryl Smith.
Hello.
Welcome to the podcast.
Thank you very much for having me.
Northamptonshire's finest ever singer, maybe?
I think that's a push.
Well, I can't think of many others. I mean, those that watch or listen to the podcast regularly will know that I'm a dab hand at Take That, Never Forget, usually at the end of an award ceremony, but certainly not in your league. But no, seriously, thank you for joining me today. Like with a lot of our guests, I like to go back to where it all started, because Northamptonshire is very much home. You were born and bred here.
Yep.
So tell us about where is home for you, and in particular, how did school life start?
So I was born in Kettering, and all of my family.
In Kettering.
Kettering. All of my family still live in Kettering, and are based here. And after living in London for 10 years, I have now moved back to Northamptonshire. I've just bought a house with my fiancé here, so good to be closer to family.
Yeah.
But yeah, so grew up here, went to school, Southfield School for Girls, in Kettering, and yeah, just moved to London when I went to university, really.
Yeah. And what was school like? What memories of school? Because you shot to fame at a very young age, 12, 12 years old, which is so young.
I know.
And when I look back at some of the videos of you when you were on our telly, obviously through Britain's Got Talent, which we'll come on to a bit later. I mean, you were so mature for a 12-year-old. Really held yourself well. But before that, what were your earliest, fondest memories of school?
So I went to Henry Gotch Primary School, which is where most of my family went to, my mum and dad and my brother and all my cousins. And yeah, had a really good experience at primary school. At Southfields, I still have friends now from Southfields that will be my bridesmaids at my wedding in the summer. So yeah, made some really, really good friends. I must admit, when I did the show, I think for a lot of people, especially because I was singing classical music, that maybe to some people they'd never heard that style of singing before. Essentially, it is kind of funny noises that we make. So I understand why people sort of took the mick a little bit. But I just had to
jealousy.
Well, it was fine. It wasn't anything really bad, but I could, now that I'm older, I look back and I can see why maybe to some other people that was, something that they'd never heard of before. It was unusual to them. But yeah, I think you have to take that when you're on people's TV screens and they're young, and it's just part of it, I think.
When did you or mum and dad realise, or Nana realise that you could sing though? How young were you?
It was actually Nana. So Nana used to pick me up from nursery. And I used to go to Nana's and watch cartoons, and she used to give me my lunch after nursery. And then she would say to my mum, she can sing, and my mum would just kind of laugh and say, it's nursery rhymes, every kid can sing a nursery rhyme. But my granddad's family, my granddad was Welsh. His mum was actually a professional opera singer. She used to sing on the Welsh radio. And so he knew a lot about classical music and opera in general. But my family were all football mad. So my dad used to run a local football club that my brother played for.
Which one was that?
Kettering Generals Football Club. I also played for Kettering Generals from the age of 7. Yeah, I had very, very good memories. And they were just, like I say, football mad. It's the only thing that they knew about, really. And then when I started singing in school plays and things like that, my mum had parents coming up to her and saying, she's really good at singing, you should take her to a choir or something. And they didn't really know what to do with me. So I joined a local choir, the Masquerade Choir in Kettering. And then I started singing lessons and just went from there. But my granddad was really the person who would say, you should sing this song, or you should, maybe try out listening to this opera. But he was the only one that really knew something about classical music, really.
Was because classical music is so beautiful to listen to, but yet somebody like myself, for example, I've never been to the opera, which we'll come on to a bit later. So I'm not really one to comment from a critique or anything like that. But Nessa Dorma, for example, is one that I think gets everybody's attention.
Yeah.
What was the one song, if you can remember that far back, that you thought, actually, I love classical music?
Well, I sang Ave Maria on Britain's Got Talent in my first audition. And I used to, whenever I would sing Ave Maria, especially at the age of 12 or something, that was kind of the piece where I would often get a lot of reactions from people.
Because it's so popular as well?
Yeah,
Everyone
I think
sort of
so.
knows it.
Everyone knows of it. And also it's in terms of, I don't know, things like breath control and things like that at that young age. It was, and even the notes, I mean, it had a top G in it. And for me at the time, that was a piece that I could work towards and improve on making it better. But I'd done competitions before that of singing classical pieces for Eisteddfod's competitions in Wales, where I was singing things like I was singing a song called Spring is Coming, and it was very classical, but it was very suited to my age at the time, whereas Ave Maria seemed slightly different. And I think that's because of the reactions from people. That was kind of when I thought, number one, I really enjoy singing this, and number two, I liked the reactions from people. So,
and if you can, Britain's Got Talent, it's been on every television set in the country at some point over the last however many years. How did going to the audition come about? Where was the audition? Where did that take place?
So I auditioned in Birmingham, and my mum wasn't too keen about me auditioning because she thought I was too young. But there weren't really many things for me to enter at the time. I mean, like I said, I did competitions, local Eisteddfods, things like that. But apart from that, there weren't really many competitions for young singers. And I was learning all of these pieces, and I just wanted the chance to perform. So I used to always watch The X Factor, Pop Idol, things like that when I was growing up.
Will Young, Gareth Gates.
At school, people used to have, vote for Gareth, and it was, one of my best friends, Georgie, she absolutely loves Gareth Gates, still to this day. And I would always watch the shows, and I would watch Simon Cowell, and I think one day I'll sing for him. And we used to say that in our living room at home, but I didn't actually think it would happen. So I just said to my dad, can I enter? And he said, okay, fine, I'll take you. So my mum didn't really think anything of it. We were thinking, young girl from Kettering, we're probably not going to get very far. Let her go to the audition, let her sing for these people. And then it went from there, really. So I did get through to the round with Simon, and then my whole family came. And my mum was very, very supportive, don't get me wrong, but she was just really worried about too much too young. Yeah.
And I think very rightly too, because I think there's been so many examples, not just necessarily in singing, but in other industries where that rise to fame at such a young age has had other...
100%.
Yeah. So I've got 3 children myself, as you know, and you sort of think actually I think I'd be very protective over them for that same reason.
And now as I get older and I think about my nieces and nephews and think about how old they are, and then imagining them in a few years' time being on people's TV screens and performing in front of Simon Cowell, then I understand.
And on the note of Simon, he, and I quote, "You are literally one in a million." That must have been pretty special to have such an influential guy say that to...
Yeah, and as I say, I'd watched him so much on growing up on The X Factor, and I was so so nervous about performing in front of him and what he would say.
Him, not the 3,000 or 4,000 people in the audience.
No, not really. It was strange. I mean, at the time it was Piers Morgan, Amanda Holden and Simon Cowell. And Simon was just the one that I was the most worried about. And also when you're there and they have the buzzers, they're so loud. Really? And as a child, that was what was making me nervous, because the thought of them saying, no, don't like you.
And would I be right in thinking this would have been the time where, because the entertainment reality world has changed a lot, and you were probably in that era where it was almost like better telly to have some of the acts that weren't basically that were talentless. Yeah. So that buzzer would have gone off a lot more than what it would do perhaps on the more recent series. That
definitely, yeah. I definitely agree with that. And at the end of the day, it's a reality TV program. They have to have the story, and that was another thing. I didn't have a story. It wasn't that I was bullied at school, because I wasn't. I had friends and I liked school, and it wasn't. I didn't really have a story. My story, if you can call it that, was that my dad cried every time I sang. So every performance, they would zoom right in on my dad and wait for him to cry. But yeah, I remember being super nervous on the day of the audition, and I said to my mum and dad, I'm just going to nip to the toilet. And I can remember I sort of half got lost as I was going to the toilets, but I managed to sneak in to the side of the auditorium and watch a few acts before I was on. So I got to see Simon Cowell in person, I got to see Amanda Piers, and I got to see everything, which I think was a massive help to me. I mean, not many people know this, but I did that before as I was going to the bathroom. And then I just kind of had a moment to myself where I thought, come on, you can do this. Just do your best and it will be fine.
But even at 12 years old, to have the maturity and the foresight to sort of say that to yourself, pretty incredible. Wise shoulders on a very young head there, I think.
Yeah, I think...
Or the other way around.
Sorry, I know what you meant. I was often, after doing the show and then, doing albums and things after that, I was surrounded by adults a lot. And I think I did have to grow up quite quickly. And I was media trained and things like that. And even having, the Kettering accent, that had to slightly go so that when I did interviews and things, people could clearly understand what I was saying.
Sorry to the Kettering folks out there.
I mean, I can say it because I'm from there, so it's fine. But yeah, I mean, I did have to grow up quite quickly during that time.
And just for those that remember you, but perhaps don't remember how you got on, you obviously got to the final.
I did.
Where did you finish?
I don't even know. I think because they only did the top 3. So I don't know. All I know is that I got to the final.
Who won that series?
George Sampson.
George Sampson, who was obviously the famous...
breakdancer.
Became famous for the breakdancing and Dancing in the Rain. Very good.
Yeah.
But that did elevate you.
Yes,
and you've gone on to some amazing things. We got to know each other a few years ago.
Yeah.
Through a mutual friend, Grant Cherry, who, great guy, but he introduced us because I think he saw a little bit of synergy, and then we first you came and sang at one of our award ceremonies.
Yes, I did. Yeah, that's right.
Which was fantastic. And I think that was the year with Stephen K. Amos was our host, wasn't it?
Yeah.
But you've got a list of sort of accolades as long as my arm here, but one that I didn't realise that you hold, but you're a Guinness World Record holder.
I am, yes.
Go on, tell us about that.
Well, it's funny, really, because some of these things, I know it sounds really silly, but because I was so young at the time, some of these things I forget myself, but I'm lucky that my nana has 1 million scrapbooks of everything that I've ever done. So I can look back on these experiences.
You're not telling me you haven't got the certificate?
I don't. No, I don't. But I think I was 13 at the time. And yeah, it was for singing. I'd like to teach the world to sing in 10 different languages. I couldn't even tell you the languages now, honestly. I mean, I could probably guess some of them. But I had a really, really short period of time to learn it.
And it was televised, wasn't it?
It was on Sky, yeah. We recorded it at Pinewood Studios. Steve Jones was presenting it. And I had the Masquerade Choir, the choir that I started off with. they came and they sang with me.
Brilliant.
Because I also asked them to sing on my album as well. I was very keen to, I mean, they were my friends, and I was very keen to involve them as much as possible, because that's where I started. So that was, important to me. So, and then I ended up somehow doing it. And then And
then you said about your album. What was that like when you first heard that you were being offered an album deal?
Well, there was a lot of chat of whether I was going to be signing with Simon, or if I was going to be signing with Universal. To be honest, at the time, I was so young that I didn't really understand what was happening. I was very excited to be signing with Universal because there were a lot of people that they had, like Catherine Jenkins, Bryn Tervel, Leslie Garrett, loads of classical singers that I looked up to at the time. So it was very exciting for me to be signing with them, and they were very, very careful with choosing the right repertoire for me so that I wasn't singing too much about love because of my age. The things that I was wearing, not wearing too much makeup, not trying to, kind of as a brand. At the end of the day, I was still a child, and they wanted to be really careful mindful of that. So I think looking back, I'm very grateful for that whole experience. But it was very, very exciting. I remember going to the Albert Hall to do the kind of pretend signing of the contracts. I'd obviously signed them previously, but it was for the press photos. And Catherine Jenkins was there because we signed with the same management. And it was a very, very exciting time for me.
And you've obviously sang and performed with Catherine on numbers of occasions.
Yeah, we toured together several times.
Where did you tour?
So we did, arena tours. So it was, I performed straight after Britain's Got Talent. I did the tour with Britain's Got Talent, and it was arena tours, so the O2 Arena and the biggest, arenas in the country. So And on that note of arenas, your biggest audience that you've performed in front of, I know you've sung at the FA Cup final before and Six Nations Rugby. Would they be the biggest? Probably, yes.
Audiences?
I think, because it's obviously the stadium of people plus everyone else at home on, watching on TV. So,
and how does that compare to, for example, the Royal Albert Hall, where it's a different type of performance? It
is, yes, very different. I absolutely love performing the anthems and all of the sporting events. I think, as I said, my family are all football mad, so they absolutely love it. They always get the free tickets and come and watch. So it's their favourite thing that I do. But yes, it's definitely a different experience. I always have my in-ear monitors in for the anthem singing, because these people are on God Save and these are already on Gracious King. So you have to, the point of it is to lead everyone. So I remember the first few times I did it, it was challenging, but now I think I've kind of got the hang of it.
Yeah, definitely. And I think we're going to see you performing at a few more of those this year and beyond. So,
hopefully, yeah.
The Royal Variety performance must have been an incredibly proud moment for all of your family.
It was, the prize for winning Britain's Got Talent is to perform at the Royal Variety, and I didn't win, but then the year after that I was still performing at the Royal Variety. So it was, I was very grateful to be there and be performing with some, it's such a surreal thing to think back to now. Sorry, it was like Whoopi Goldberg, Michael Bublé, Miley Cyrus, an insane group of people, and we were all there for a week to rehearse, and it's just it was
what's the rehearsal like, that program? Is it a case of, right, we're performing on the show's on a Thursday night, Faryl, you're on Monday between this time and Tuesday, and you get a timetable?
You do, but when you're also dealing with some of the biggest stars out there,
God, who was a pain in the ass?
They don't always stick to the timetable.
All right, okay, sorry. Let's rephrase that question. Who was the one that perhaps needs a new watch?
I can't say that.
No,
I'm not gonna be the one to say that.
An American lady that's perhaps been
they
in
were
Sister Act.
They were all great. No, she was great.
Was she?
I grew up watching Sister Act. It was like
my favourite.
Two. It was my absolute
Happy.
favourite film. And so to even meet her and speak with her, I was, I
Bit
remember.
of an icon, isn't she?
Oh my God, absolutely. And Lady Gaga was there performing.
Really?
It was the performance of when she had that huge piano on stilts.
Oh.
And yeah, it was just insane. And I realised how much of a amazing musician she is. Like she is fantastic. And I think I know her story is that she tried for years and years and years to, make it. And then she came up with this idea of completely changing her appearance and being, the brand of Lady Gaga. And that's what eventually worked. But I think because of that, people maybe didn't realize how
special she is.
How amazing she is as a musician.
And I think that, again, I'm not a Lady Gaga huge fan, but I think that performance with Bradley Cooper.
Yeah.
I can't remember the film now. But what's the film? Star is Born. Well done.
Yeah.
Thank you, Joe. That's pretty special.
It is.
That's a lump in your throat job. And that is clear, natural born talent there.
It is. Yeah. Yeah. But no, it was definitely an experience. And Peter Kay was presenting.
Yeah. Who I get compared to many a times, don't I, Arthur?
And we, as a family, absolutely love him. I remember because my dad was there with me because I always had to have kind of a chaperone or a parent there. And I can remember he went up to Peter Kay and said, I just want to let you know, I love you. And Peter Kay said, and I love you too. And then they hugged. And I was standing there thinking, oh my God, this is so embarrassing.
Brilliant.
That was definitely one to remember.
Did you get to meet Her Majesty?
I did, yes.
Did you? Did everybody? Or
yeah, that was one of the events where I did actually get to meet her. And
is that like before on the way in?
No, it's after the show.
Oh,
so we
after?
all kind of do a line-up and shake her hand and everything. And yeah.
But that's not, is that sort of private behind?
It is, yeah. Yeah. So the curtain goes down after the show and then we're all backstage. Yeah.
Wow. I'll bet that was, that's got to be one of the highlights?
Oh, definitely, yeah. I had performed for royalty before that point, but I hadn't actually kind of met her or
did you get trained about what to say?
Lots of rules.
And did she stop and talk? Or
she did, yeah. I think because at the beginning of the show I sang the national anthem with the soldiers at the time, so it was a group of singers. And so yeah, I think it was kind of important for her to, because I had that moment at the beginning, for her to
what did she say?
She just said beautiful performance and well done. She had to get through quite a lot of us, so I didn't want to take too much of her time, and I was also so nervous that I was going to say the wrong thing or do the wrong thing, because it's even things like you can't, well, not can't, but you're told that you probably shouldn't put your hand out. She should, yeah. And it's the whole ma'am like jam, not ma'am like Psalm, and all of that stuff. There's so many rules that I was just scared to say and do the wrong thing.
I don't know if you, I met Prince Charles, obviously now King, but when he was Prince, he came to the fish market in Northampton. I was about 21, so 20 years ago, 2004, 2005, and I'd started, my first business was a telemarketing company, and the Prince's Trust had given me £1,000 grant.
Yeah.
And Prince Charles was coming to the area, and they wanted to showcase a few recipients of the grant from the Prince's Trust. So I was quite excited. I wasn't nervous.
Yeah.
Didn't think for 1 minute that he'd come and talk to me, because I just thought it'd be it was more for the press just to have him seen walking around. He came over. I shook his hand. I called him Your Honour.
Oh no!
And he said, "So what do you do?" And I was like, told him, and he said, so are you one of the annoying ones that rings people at home on a Thursday night when they're watching telly? And I was like, no, I'm not. And then I started to laugh. I said, no, it's just business to business, so we'd only ring people 9 to 5 at work, not at home. But I was genuinely so surprised at how much attention he paid in, not just me, but other people that were there representing their small businesses. And it made me look at the royal family very differently, I think, because other people that I know that have been fortunate enough to meet either Her Majesty or Prince Charles or other the other princes, have said just how much they do care and the attention they put in. And I think sometimes that's overly missed.
Yeah, I have performed at Windsor Castle a few times for the Prince's Trust dinners, and Prince Edward is usually there, and he always takes the time to, after the dinner and after I've usually done a performance, to kind of step out. I remember I was there once with my parents, and my grandparents also were able to come, and
brilliant.
My nana had a tour of Windsor Castle, and she got to see kind of everything, even like the kitchens and, you know, all the behind the scenes stuff. And that's definitely something that, I'll always remember. And we had a proper chat, and we were there for a while. So it was a very nice experience.
Fantastic. So talking about sort of now, you obviously went off to university.
Yeah.
So you spent, how long were you down in London for?
A very long time. So I went to the Guildhall School of Music and Drama. So I did an undergraduate degree, a postgraduate degree, and an opera course. So in total, 8 years, which is a really, really long time. But it takes a lot of time to train in opera. I mean, we're singing lots of different languages, and it's also kind of the stagecraft stuff. And there's so much that goes into becoming an opera singer. So yes, I did the full thing for 8 years.
There can't be many people that do that.
That kind of is.
What,
I think,
is it hundreds or thousands?
Well, no, I suppose it's not. I mean, in my head, I'm thinking there is, because they're all my friends. But and people come into it from all different. Not everyone does the postgraduate. Not everyone does the undergraduate. Not everyone does the opera course. So people
to do all three. That's what I'm getting at.
And I stayed at the Guildhall for the whole thing. I mean, I could have gone to other places, but I really loved my singing teachers and coaches there, and felt like I was progressing well, and that was just right for me at the time.
And I've got to ask, how many languages do you sing in now?
Oh gosh, the thing is, everyone expects you to be able to speak fluently in all of these languages, but
I
I definitely can't.
Fluently in anything other than English today, Faryl.
But yes, I've done opera scenes in Italian, German, French, Russian, Czech. So quite a few.
And now, so you qualify?
Yes, yeah.
And then you go into the opera world.
Yeah, I mean, it's not guaranteed that you will, kind of get work in that world, but I have been lucky enough to work for some opera companies in the UK. I started off at working at Glyndebourne Opera House. I'm returning to Glyndebourne this summer.
Brilliant.
And last year I worked with Opera Holland Park, and then Waterperry Opera Festival in Oxfordshire. I mean, since leaving the opera course, you just kind of audition for all of these companies, and then see.
And then sort of get offered roles,
get offered
or
roles,
get offered contracts or whatever for a certain time.
It, yeah.
And what's that? Talk us through so once you go down in March, April time, talk us through a typical week.
So I'll be doing the chorus at Glyndebourne. So I'll be in 3 different operas, and then I'm covering a role in one of them. So like an understudy. So when you're first starting off, it's it's not, impossible, but it's quite rare to go straight in getting kind of main roles in opera. It's usually people that have way more experience and that are a bit older and their voice is more developed. So usually when you're coming out of opera courses, you're covering, if you're lucky enough to cover roles, or if you're doing smaller roles for smaller companies, you might be doing the main role. When I start at Glyndebourne, it's very full on at the beginning. So all the rehearsals, learning all of the music, and then more or less every day you're in rehearsing.
What, sort of like 10 till 4?
Or 10 till 5.
Yeah.
And as I say, it's very intense at the beginning. And then once the shows are actually running, then you have more days off, so that I'm able to do other things alongside opera contracts as well.
And this is going to sound silly, but I'm sure somebody else is thinking the same thing. Throughout the year, most people feel a little bit under the weather at some point, Obviously, your voice is your USP. How do you Is there an element of protecting your voice? Because if you're constantly using it, like anything else, I'm guessing it's going to be prone to maybe to go, not go down. That sounds the wrong expression, but it's
I know what you
prone
mean.
to fail.
Yeah,
more
I know
prone to
what
fail.
you're saying. Yeah.
So how do you look after that? A bit like how an athlete would look after their
Well,
hamstring.
I was literally just about to say. I mean, it's a muscle at the end of the day, and you have to kind of treat it like you're an athlete. I mean, don't get me wrong. There'll be many of my friends watching this that think, you have a glass of wine after a rehearsal sometimes, but
well, everyone
you have
at
to
work
be...
knows if I come in from having a few pints after work the day before, it shows in your voice as well.
It
doesn't
does, yeah. I think as long as you're not, say for example, I'm going to an event and then I have to sing the next day. If I'm shouting a lot in a really loud room, then I'll probably I'll probably be a bit tired the next day. It depends on what event it is. So I have just learnt how to know when to push my voice and not push my voice, really. I mean, if I'm learning a role for an opera, then you have to kind of be in the best shape that you can be vocally, and ready for auditions and things like that. I wouldn't risk going out the night before or being, somewhere that's really, really loud and busy, because it would be fine and I would still be able to sing, but it wouldn't be the best that I could do. So I've just gradually over the years learned what works for me and what doesn't really.
So Sam's obviously your husband to be.
Yeah.
So he's not okay. Right, Farrell, just tonight, just let me watch telly. You just rest your voice. It's none of that though. You don't have to do that sort of homework.
No, and I mean he's very, very good, because we met at the Guildhall. So
he's very talented as well.
So he trained as a tenor. He's ended up not going and singing, but it's really nice because he completely understands. I don't have to explain anything to him. He completely understands. So it's very handy to have someone there to every now and again kind of remind, oh, you sure you want to do that? Because do you not think you'll feel a bit rubbish tomorrow? And then sometimes I say,
So I've got to ask this as well, because somebody else will be thinking this. Do you sing together?
No.
Have you? You must have.
No, we
not
haven't.
Even with your mates on a.
No, we would laugh too much. I wouldn't be able to take it seriously.
Oh, you got to do that. Like for your wedding.
Oh,
you see some of these things on
not.
TikTok and Instagram.
Absolutely not.
Where it's like the first dance and they just drop it and then they go into. You've got to do something like that. That'd be brilliant.
I can't do it. No.
I have to have a word with Sam, I think. Grant, we'll get Grant on it.
Oh, no.
Grant will control that.
Oh, no.
I need to tell you about Rocky's wedding, where Grant's got up and got hold of the mic and then tried to turn it into a scene of Ali Pali.
Oh, no.
On New Year's Day after, on the final. But anyway, that's a separate one. But you've got to work on something for that. That would be great.
Oh, gosh, I can't imagine doing that.
I just want to go back. You've done a lot of TV and media work. Mm-hmm. Was there a standout one for you that you really loved, and if you could go back and do that again, you'd jump at the chance?
I think I always think back to any performance really that was at the Royal Albert Hall. I mean, it's a very special place to me. I was lucky to do several really big, cool events there. And would love to perform there sometime soon again. I did the Festival of Remembrance there, the Classical Brit Awards. It's just a place that is special to me, really. And my parents often talk about, during the Festival of Remembrance, they weren't seated, so they were kind of standing right at the very, very top, looking down at their daughter singing with a full orchestra and thinking, wow, how is she doing that?
Yeah.
But at the time, again, because I was so young, I just used to do it. I didn't really think about things, because you don't really at that age, you just do. Whereas now it's slightly different, because I'm older and I understand how important things are, and, if there's important people there. Whereas at that age, you just do stuff. You don't think about it.
No. So here we are, 2025. Mm-hmm. What does the next 5 years look like for Faryl Smith?
Well, on a personal, note, I am getting married in the summer. So that's exciting, something that I'm really looking forward to.
Hendu booked?
Well, I don't know. I'm not in charge of it. So I think there are plans that are happening, but we shall see.
Behind the scenes.
It was very difficult for them to find a time that I was available. But I think they've done it. But yes, I'm very excited. We're very excited about that. We're getting married in Italy in the summer. And then, as I say, we've just bought a house. So again, that's another thing that we've kind of ticked off the list. And yeah, I mean, the past year or so, it's been a time for me to, after leaving the opera course and working for some opera companies, I just had a moment to think, what is it that I actually want to do? What is it that I enjoy doing? And I have decided that I would like to do a mixture of opera as well as all of the other type of events that I do, because I really enjoy them. And I think it's good to not put all of your eggs into one basket and mix up doing lots of different things. Traveling and performing in places all around the world is,
So I want to come and see you perform an opera, because I've never been to an opera before. So I want to see that, and a lot of it will go straight over my head. But I can almost visualize, I've got this vision board of Faryl nailing the operas this year, but then also I know he's just retired, I think, for the 4th time, but I can see you singing the national anthem at AJ versus Fury at Wembley Stadium in front of 80,000 people.
Yeah, I mean, I'd love to do that.
And Twickenham, which is now the Allianz Stadium or Allianz Arena.
Yeah.
But that's, autumn internationals as we take on the All Blacks maybe, or the Australians.
Yeah.
Mixed in maybe with a couple of sort of award ceremonies along the way as well. That to you is sort of like the dream.
It is, yeah. I mean, this year I was thinking, what is it that I would really love to do? And I enjoy traveling and going to all different places around the world and singing. I went to a really cool corporate event at the Dubai Opera House and performed there. And at the end of this month, I'm going to Rome for 4 days to sing at a cool event there. And they're the type of things that I think, this is such a cool thing to do as your job. And as I say, now that I'm getting older and I'm realizing that not everyone loves their job and not everyone wakes up and thinks, oh, I can't wait to do this. And I realize how lucky I am that I still, after so many years, this is still my job, and people are still wanting to hear me sing. So I'm just grateful for that, really.
Very much so. Now, we're coming towards the end, so I'm going to ask you, the famous dinner party question first of all. So we ask all of our guests, you've got dinner tomorrow night, you can invite 4 people.
Yeah.
Past or present, who would they be?
Oh my gosh, you put me on the spot now. I am in love with, and always have been in love with, Beyonce. I think that she, as a performer, is insane. She is like nobody else. The way that she is as a person, the way that she sings, and the control she has over her voice, and also the dancing, the general performance that she does, I just feel like is like nobody else. So I would definitely have her there.
Imagine a Beyonce and Faryl classical mix.
Well, she sang Ave Maria, didn't she, on her album? And then she also she recorded a version of Caro mio ben, which is like one of the Italian songs that we all learn in first year. And when she recorded it, a few of us were like, what is this? But then I thought it was great, because I was like, if this is a Italian, like a classic Italian piece that we all learn, and when we're studying classical music, why shouldn't Beyonce be singing it? Because if it makes
classical music,
well, that's the thing. That's the thing.
If it's a new audience, isn't it?
Exactly, and I'm all for that. So I would have Beyonce, probably the Queen. I mean, I met her once, but it would be nice to have her there at dinner. I mean, she'd have some pretty cool stories, I'm sure. I also had a funny interaction with her that I'd probably want to explain when I sang at the Epsom Derby, and my heel got caught in the grass, and it was
whack.
Well, it was just as she was about to kind of pull up. The car was pulling up, very, very windy day, and this is a bit of advice that any anthem singers or anyone that's performing on grass, don't wear always a wedge, never a heel, always a wedge. And my heel got stuck in the grass. And
you couldn't move.
I had either option number 1, I fell over, or option number 2, I took my feet out of said shoes. So I did that option, and she got out of the car, and we were kind of I mean, the distance, probably a little bit further than you and I now.
And she's looked straight down.
And she's looked straight down at my feet.
No.
She has. I mean, she laughed. She smiled.
Oh, she could
She
see what
smiled.
happened.
She could see what happened. But I would maybe
love
like
her.
to explain that.
Yes.
Oh my gosh, 2 more people. I can't think of anyone. Everyone has completely gone out of my brain. I'm trying to think of people that I really love and that would want to, that I haven't maybe met. I mean, I'd probably have Michael Bublé there again. I know I met him at the Royal Variety, but he was so he's by far the nicest celebrity that I've ever met.
I love the one where he's performing. It's a few years old, but he there's this lad in the front row, and his mum's got a sign saying, "My boy wants to sing with you."
Yeah.
So have you seen it? And he gets him up on stage.
Yeah, I've seen it. Yeah.
And he can sing.
Yeah.
And Michael Bublé's reaction when the lad sings that first note was like, "Oh my God, he can sing."
I know the video.
Yeah,
I know it well.
Brilliant.
But he was just so down to earth, so lovely. We were next door to each other in the dressing rooms, and as I say, we were there for a week, so we all got to know each other really well. And we were just in my dressing room eating Walker's crisps, watching the Paul O'Grady show during the time off. He was just really nice and really talented and a normal guy. And I'd probably have my granddad would be the 4th person. We lost my granddad a couple of years ago and we were super, super close. So to just have another chat with him would be great.
Fantastic. And if you could collaborate with anybody, who would it be?
Oh my God, that is another one again.
Yeah, well,
I mean, you said Beyonce.
Well, yeah,
so.
I was surprised with what you said by Beyonce. I
Well,
mean, I can see it, but I wasn't expecting it. So
I just think she's. Whenever I've seen clips of her singing completely a cappella, she doesn't need anything out. Like, she just sounds amazing, and she's got an insane range. Like, some of the lower notes that she does, it's. I just think that she's great. So. Okay.
Bringing it back to local as well, Northamptonshire. What's your go place to go for when you and Sam want to go out for something to eat or to do in the county?
Sam's favourite restaurant is Cushbu.
Cushbu,
in Burton Latimer.
Yeah, very nice.
Loves Cushbu.
Yeah.
If we have to go anywhere, he would choose to go to Cushbu. And then across the road, the Pal Michael. I love the Pal Michael.
Yes, the Pal Michael is stunning.
So yeah, probably Burton Latimer is the place.
Burton Latimer is actually and then of course you've got the Old Vic as well.
Yeah,
for
exactly.
A good pint of whatever there. Yeah, very good. Faryl, thank you ever so much.
Thank you for having
me. Very
me.
grateful. We're going to play a little game now.
Okay.
So, Arthur, can I have the paddle, please?
I'm nervous.
Don't be nervous.
Thank you.
So, let me have the paddle first. Thank you. So, for those watching, this is opera song or opera wrong. Okay, so there's your paddle.
Thank you.
So what we're going to do, we're going to have a bit of a fun game.
Yep.
And I'm going to read out some names of songs.
Okay.
Opera songs. But amongst them are some folk songs, and the guys, the talented team here, have just made them up.
Yep.
But we want you to believe which is legitimate and which one's false. All right. I Am the Pirate King. Opera song or opera wrong?
See, this could be from The Pirates of Penzance, which is GNS.
Gilbert and Sullivan.
Yes. I'm going to say ding, ding,
Yeah,
ding.
I've helped you out there, haven't I? Sorry,
well, no, I
should have
said
that.
GNS.
Yeah.
I'm going to say opera song. Am
you
I
get
right?
Bonus, yes, you are.
Great.
Bonus point. When was it first performed?
Oh,
if you get this, I'm going to
there is
high five
no way that I will know any of these things.
Don't worry, it's only on a couple. 1879.
Well, there we go. That's exactly what I was thinking. That's what I was going to say.
Right, the next one. Rats Upon My Village. Opera song or opera wrong?
So, I mean, I'm guessing that a lot of these have been,
carefully selected.
I imagine maybe some of them are going to be that they were Italian, but we're translating them into English, right? But I would say that this is probably not.
Correct.
Okay, nice.
Once a Love, Forever a Flower.
Okay, that sounds like something that would be translated, that could have been an aria that is translated.
Yeah, these are translated.
Yeah, but as in like that sounds like something that could definitely be an aria. And if it is, I couldn't tell you what opera it's from, but I'm going to say opera song. That was a good one.
Yeah, well
that
done,
was a
Tiffany.
good one.
Drinking song.
Yeah, that's an opera song
Well, straight in there.
from La Traviata.
Oh, brilliant. It's a lively song that encourages the drinking of wine or other alcoholic beverages.
Yeah, it's a classic.
Written by Grant Cherry. Okay, the next one. When I Was a Butterfly. Correct. Hey?
Did you think of Madame Butterfly and then try? I can see the thought process.
If you want a receipt for that popular mystery.
Can you repeat that, please?
If you want a receipt for that popular mystery.
I think that's too specific to be made up. I think. So I'm going to go with opera
Well
song.
done. A humorous and slightly cheeky aria about love potions and the mysteries of romance from The Sorcerer by Guinness, Gilbert and Sullivan.
See. Well done, well done.
Okay. This one's very appropriate for this year.
Okay.
I've decided to marry you. Not me, Sam. Sorry, not me, Sam. He's not in the... I've decided to marry you.
I've decided to marry you. I might be wrong, but I don't actually know. That could be wrong. I'm talking to myself here, really, in my brain. I'm going to go with Opera Wrong.
No.
Oh no, is it from like The Marriage of Figaro or something?
It's from A Gentleman's Guide to Love and Murder.
Oh, okay.
From the Broadway musical.
Okay.
And the last one, Feed Me the Grapes.
Opera song.
No, wrong. So I think I'm going to need Arthur to do a summary.
Yep.
So he'll do that in the edit because I haven't made a note. So this is how you got on, Faryl.
I think I did better than I thought I'd do there.
Yeah, definitely, because we did give you edit. When I said that when I showed you the paddle before we sat down, I could see that it was a bit.
I know. I thought we were going to be doing a bit of table tennis, ping pong.
No, but well done. Listen, we're going to follow your journey. We wish you all the success for 2025 and
Thank
beyond.
you.
And you've well and truly put Northamptonshire on the map with your amazing talent. So thank you very much, Faryl.
Thank you.